David Vetter, Executive Editor Technical for Prepared Foods Media, and welcome to a Prepared Foods series on technical trends in new product development. We're taking a look at trend in cheeses with Jill Allen. She's the Director of Product Excellence in R&D for Tillamook County Creamery Association, and they are makers of a full line of artisanally crafted dairy products. Welcome, Jill. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, David. I love to talk everything cheese and especially about Tillamook cheese.
Earlier this year, y'all at Tillamook released a comprehensive trend report. And what interested me the most with cheese was what you term the cheddar plunge. And that's, soaking a sharp cheddar in wine, shrubs, ale, something to completely change that cheese experience as you describe it. So does Tillamook have plans to offer a line of such flavored cheeses, in addition to guiding consumers, say with suggestions, recipes, whatever?
We do not have any plans in the near future to launch a separate line of soaked cheeses, David, but we're always experimenting with unique flavor combinations, especially with our Maker's Reserve pairings. Every year, when we release a new vintage of Tillamook Maker's Reserve Extra Sharp Aged Cheddar, we give pairing suggestions on our website at tillamook.com. And we always include our favorite beer, wine, spirit, along with a savory and a sweet pairing. Now, one of my favorite cheddar plunges is with our Farmer's Collection English style sweet cheddar that has notes of sweet alpage and a hint of nuttiness. That is dunked in a chocolate stout beer for a few days. I keep it covered in my refrigerator. Then after about 3 to 5 days, depending on how intense I want the flavor and the color of the rind to be from the stout, I will then cold dry the cheese in my refrigerator and keep mostly covered for the day until I have made a fantastic homemade treat of Tillamook creamy sweet English cheddar with this beautiful chocolate stout finish. But one technical piece to keep in mind when soaking cheddar, the higher percent of AVB, the shorter time that you can soak your cheddar, as the alcohol will break down the cheese very quickly. So I recommend about half a day max for a whiskey or a gin or your favorite spirit, so that you have that opportunity to then cold dry it and then serve it. And you need to play around with the type of cheese that you're using, but food should be fun, science should be fun, so experiment at home, but always keep food safety in mind.
Now, another interesting factor in y'all's report was the implication that consumers have shifted their idea of what a cheese board should include. I know I'm probably old-fashioned, you do a little charcuterie, you do some cornichons, and get your cheddars out there and your other cheeses. But y'all were talking about bringing in bold, spicy flavors with global influence to pair, with cheddar and other cheeses. Do you think that consumers are ready for similar bold flavored treatments for, say, a Swiss or a mozzarella?
There are currently some really excellent cold smoked Swiss cheeses and mozzarellas out on the market today. And there are some great marinated in oil and spice cheeses that include different cheese types with dried herbs, spices, and flours.
And cheese is probably one of the few foods that it's like a dual purpose. It's at once this fundamental staple, but it's also a special indulgence. And with today's consumer just being far more knowledgeable about and interested in, not just the types and varieties of a cheese, but the region and origin of a cheese. So how does Tillamook approach creating a new cheese variety for its lineup with those considerations? Because you have both this highly knowledgeable consumer, so they're looking at the global market of cheeses, but then, they're also interested in, the domestic regional. So how do you bring all that together when you're creating a new cheese variety?
Right. Tillamook always wants to understand what are the fundamental reasons people love about a particular cheese. Is it the color? Is it the aroma, the texture, the flavor? We know that the entire process from farm to affinage creates regionality and cheesemaker uniquities. From the production process of creating our own starter cultures in-house to the importance of a milled cheddaring process, along with taking time to naturally age our cheddars slowly in order to develop sharp, tangy cheddar flavors. So we ensure that we make and take the most important parts of the entire process to deliver an amazing version of cheddar cheese.
Do you cave age, or take us through just a little bit of that, just a little bit of how you're aging those.
Right. We do not cave age our cheddars. We've actually dubbed our aging facility the Vault, because one of the important ingredients to making an amazing aged cheddar is time. So we have an aging facility that we put our 40-pound blocks of cheddar cheese, and we tuck them away until they are ready to be converted. So if we make a cheddar cheese and we're going to hold it for 10 plus years, that 40-pound block will stay tucked away at around 43 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit for up to 10 years until we are ready to cut it.
Well, now tell us a little bit. You mentioned mozzarella earlier,
Yes,
and you were talking about how cheddar is from Cheddar, England, in Somerset
yes.
County, and now mozzarella is born in Italy. So
And
it's
this, yeah,
world.
mozzarella comes from a long line of what we call a stretched curd cheese family called pasta filata, that are found in so many places around the world, David, like Oaxaca from Mexico or chichil from Turkey. And we know that consumers are looking for a whole milk mozzarella on the shelf, but there were not many options available. So we decided to deliver this style of cheese with more flavor. Now, with just 4 simple ingredients, which include cheese cultures, milk, salt, enzymes, our whole new milk mozzarella has proprietary cultures to enhance the natural buttery flavor.
Mm.
A lot of mozzarellas you will find on the market may have been stretched, but they lack full flavor and
Yeah.
result in an overly salty cheese. We wanted a mozzarella to enhance a pizza flavor performance, not make it saltier, so more buttery.
Tell us a little bit more about that if you can. And
Absolutely. And I hope you try it soon on your homemade pizzas, David. Our new low moisture whole milk mozzarella has a really creamy, buttery taste. And this cheese delivers a slight, softer, creamy texture, which makes it the ideal cheese for shredding, baking, binding, melting for your casserole or lasagna bake. One of the other key parts to delivering a melty, stretchy cheese is through the pasta filata stretched curd process.
right.
So we're very intentional in working with a traditional stretched curd cheese process to create our new flavorful, low moisture whole milk mozzarella. And for people listening that don't know what the pasta filata process is, it's basically extracting the warm curds and melding them together and then pulling it like taffy. So this family of cheese, sometimes you'll hear people call it spun cheese or taffy pulled cheese. It's just the process that it's going through to create the strands and the stretch and to get those proteins aligned.
Right, right. I was saying it's all about the protein texture and how the molecules of protein come together, and you know, curd and stretch and clump. It's just it's a science, and it's a tasty science.
It
So
is a tasty science.
let me throw a technical question at you. Tillamook is a county creamery association led by Regions farmers, and so they're providing the milk. And while terroir is, certainly helps and is an important part of a product like a cheese, consistency can also be a challenge, and that that can depend on the impact of seasons, feedings, breed of cow, weather, etc. So how does Tillamook Creamery maintain consistency of product, or as some companies do, are these minor inconsistencies enjoyed for the subtle variety that they can bring to each batch.
Yeah, Tillamook consistently produces high quality cheese day in and day out with hundreds, if not thousands upon thousands of outliers that can change with the wind. Minor terroir and seasonality inconsistencies are very natural and not 100% avoidable while making a fermented food.
Right, right.
On the farm, we are dedicated to our cows. Does she have the adequate food and water? Is she comfortable? Does she have shelter? Is she being properly handled and treated? Is stress being minimized for her? Is she healthy, thriving, and producing the highest quality milk? Then at the plant, how quick or slow is the milk being processed into cheese? How clean is all the equipment in the storaging and handling facilities? Are all the ingredients in good standing use? Is the cheese being aged at the correct temperature?
Right, right.
You see, food quality is always a non-negotiable at Tillamook, and maintaining consistency of our products can be seen through many important lenses. And at Tillamook, cow health, food safety, and uncompromising quality truly come first.
And it does show. It does show. And food safety, especially for a dairy product, and then especially a fermented dairy product,
Exactly.
it's a huge issue. So take us a little bit through y'all's food safety process, if you will.
Yes, food safety begins at the farm and continues throughout the manufacturing processes. Tillamook runs tests and takes quality control measurements at the farm, milk receiving, pasteurization, manufacturing, finished goods, cheese aging, storaging, and shipping points, and so many more. And from these quality tests, our rockstar cheesemakers can maintain our consistency in our cheese formula with different incoming milk components such as fat, protein, and minerals, with seasonality and lactation cycle changes from the herd. We're producing around 30 vats of cheese a day, and each vat of cheese made is being closely monitored to limit all volatility in outliers, as each vat of cheese is now its own little ecosystem of living microorganisms and bacteria.
The good stuff, the good bacteria.
The good bacteria that creates the unique Tillamook cheddar cheese flavor that cannot be duplicated anywhere in the world. And once our cheese curds are made, David, in the cheese vats, we pump them over into our cheddar master. Now, this replicates the old traditional method of cheddaring. So this is the process that the cheese curds go through to become cheddar. So the old process was to stack the mats on top of each other for the curds to knit, and then the excess whey would drain out. So the cheddar master is replicating this process. Then the curd is traditionally milled. It's cut into finger-length piece sizes. It's salted, then pressed into 40-pound blocks of cheddar. In today's high throughput cheddar making production facilities, some plants will make their cheddar into 640-pound blocks.
Whoa.
And when they're huge. And when the newly made cheese curd comes off of the cheddar master, this curd is around 98 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you have to imagine when it's pressed into a block, a solid mass, and specifically a 640-pound block of cheddar, this cheese will take a very long time to cool down into the center of the block, leaving the fermentation process to have different effects at different times to temperatures within that block.
Well, yeah, so you can have a situation where the cheese you're getting in the center of the block is not vastly, but perceptibly is a better word, different from what you're getting in the outer. So, wow, that's
correct. You could have a different pH, just like different salt migration, moisture migration, which then could change how you use the cheddar, maybe in a certain baking application. And Tillamook's approach is to maintain this quality of cooling our 40-pound blocks down consistently and rapidly to maintain that same quality in that one block of cheese, no matter where you slice, dice, cut, shred this block of cheese, all because we controlled the temperature of the entire block quicker.
The inner workings that we don't think of, from a 640-pound block to a 40-pound block. And I know that's going to take extra time, extra resources, but it does make a difference. Let's shift over to the use of cheese in formulations, because I was especially interested to see that y'all now offer mac and cheese and kits and pizza. So take us through how you approach developing these very traditional comfort foods, so they're different from the competition out there.
For mac and cheese, we really focused on how we would do this in the kitchen first.
Tell us more. What inspired you guys to build that setup?
Yeah, it was such a fun creative build. We all sat around a table while our executive chef, Josh Archibald, brought us different variations to try. And Chef really outdid himself with different styles of noodles, toppings, cheese types, and sauce consistencies. And after falling in love, I can say this, with a jumbo elbow ridge noodle that was smothered in a creamy cheddar sauce and topped with even more shreds of Jack and cheddar, a crispy buttery herb pretzel crumb lay on top in front of us.
Wow.
We were blown away.
It sounds just awesome listening to it. And when is this coming out? Because I know it's imminent. Is it already on shelves?
It's already on shelf, yes.
Oh,
so when we sat down the table and we experimented with all these different components, we still had to address the R&D side. We had to first scale it up to a traditional bechamel with butter and flour roux, added spices, and whole milk. Then we added as much cheese as we could to the sauce because everyone loves more cheese.
You get it just before it breaks. That's exactly.
Yes, and that's the chef's kiss, right? So from the technical side, we had to build in that experience that we were all experiencing with our executive chef, Josh Archibald. Our mac and cheese, our R&D developer was Justin Lobbs, and he is quoted as saying that we chose a blend of cheeses that would optimize the classic Tillamook cheddar flavor that everyone knows us for, while giving some creamy, saucy cheese pool that folks are looking for with a mac and cheese. We then layered, David, the sauce with flavor, forward toppings that added textural elements and color. And on top of all this, we added more cheese on top. And now we have 3 amazing flavors to enjoy. You can find now on store shelf the classic cheddar, sharp cheddar and uncured bacon, and cheddar and hatch chili mac and cheese.
What flavors do you have with those?
We have our new cheesy barbecue chicken, 3 cheese pizza, cheesy uncured pepperoni, and 3 cheese supreme pizza.
Consumer interest in cheese is just continuing to grow. What should, especially cheese and food formulation. So what should product developers keep a watch for in the future, such as emerging ethnic or global flavors that pertain to cheese, or different cuts of cheese, different types of cheese? What do you think is coming down the pipeline in the next couple of years or so?
Yeah, as consumer interests in cheese grow, which I think is amazing because I love cheese, I think we will start to see all sorts of exciting new cheese flavors emerging, as well as different baking usages of more common cheeses. And as we all know, trends can come and go very fast. But the key to pairing cheese very well is to use high quality ingredients.
Always.
And making sure that these ingredients are a supporting role to the cheese, because the cheese should be the star.
It's very apparent that Tillamook is still making cheese old-fashioned, traditional ways, and it does show in the quality. And we know it takes a little extra time and a little extra resources, and costs a little more. But when you're crafting a product, especially one that's cheese centric, there's no substitute for quality. So I really appreciate your taking us through, giving us this deep dive into the world of Tillamook cheese. I know you've got an appointment any minute now, so we're out of time. But thank you very much for joining us and showing us the workings of this great traditional company, and one that I'm going to have to visit. Like I said, I'm up in Oregon once or twice a year now, so I might have to pay y'all a visit. So thank you very much. I also want to thank our audience members. I hope you enjoyed this inside look into one of the world's favorite foods. I hope you found it as neat, fascinating as I did. Check out our media menu at preparefoods.com. You'll find many more videos, podcasts, articles, everything of value to help today's food developers and manufacturers. And we have a comprehensive library of valuable resources. And then also check out Tillamook.com. You know, some of the cheeses we heard about were exciting. And you'll find cheese pairing ideas and where to find any Tillamook cheeses that you need to play with to develop a product. Again, I'm David Fetter, Executive Editor Technical for Prepared Foods Media. This was a talk with Jill Allen, Director of Product Excellence and R&D for Tillamook County Creamery Association. And thank you for joining us. And until next time.